take this around?
No. Thank you, Pam. Good afternoon. How is everyone? A boring accountant. You're probably right. You're probably right. But hopefully this afternoon, what I'll do is give you some information that will help you on your journey to create some financial freedom. Who enjoyed what Michael was talking about earlier today? Yeah? Who's going to implement some of those strategies? Great stuff. So what I'll do is give you some strategies and techniques to actually overlay, if you like, on some of the stuff that you'll be doing by yourself, or taking on board the strategies that Michael is going to give you to get a better result. So who wants a better result? I don't know better than what, but better than you would have otherwise had. So at Chan & Naylor, as Pam was saying, we're accountants, so we love to do tax work. I'll have to talk to George, when he mentioned, that tax is really boring and I should get a life. But apart from that, the job for me today is to keep you entertained. I mean, that's a good song, isn't it? I forget who sings that. Because at this time of the afternoon, it's getting a bit late, isn't it? Who's a bit tired? Yeah. Obviously, if you're in the front row and I see you falling asleep, I'll be able to point to you, but I won't embarrass you. So hopefully what I'll be telling you will be exciting. It'll be something you didn't already know, so it's what you know you don't know that you don't know. So I'll be giving you lots of strategies. Most of them are directed to property, but they apply equally across the board for, if you're a share investor or a business owner. So I'm just going to sort of basically focus the next couple of hours on property and how to generate real wealth and money out of that particular asset class. So we all know that money is not necessarily the root of all evil, although we might have thought it at one stage in our life. So I'm going to be really talking about how to increase your wealth as it relates to money, so that you can end up with a cash machine. I love that term, cash machine. But this one, actually, you don't have to pay every time you withdraw. So no bank fees involved. So what makes Chan & Naylor different to a normal accountant? What do you think? Because we're a basic accountant, we love to do your tax work, we love to do accounts, but we've actually got a few other things that we love to do. And that's to help you achieve greater wealth. So doing the accounts, doing your taxation is like the bottom rung of the ladder. So we want to get there and then help you improve on that. So as Pam was saying, we're national. Got offices all around Australia. We've got 3 in Sydney, so Parramatta, 1 in the city, and the other one at Pymble. And I've got some of the team up the back there if they want to stand up. So Ian runs the Pymble. He's helped there with one of the senior client managers, Urshad. We've got Clive here who runs Parramatta, and Derek who runs the city office. So you'll have a chance to talk to them at the end of today, unless you've spoken to them already. And we're also going to give you the opportunity to come up with questions that you've got from today or from other sessions. So you can actually go to those guys and say, how can this particular problem be solved? So who'd like the opportunity to talk to one of our partners about your specific problems? Not many people. Who has problems in relation to financial wealth? Lots of you. So, and I do as well. I mean, we all want to do better, don't we? So those guys will be there to help you. So in your little booklet, you should find, has everyone got the booklet? So in here there's a blank form, notes. So if you pull that out, every time you hear me say something that you think, geez, that could help me, just jot it down. So then you've got a prompt to come and ask us questions later. So it could be on, how do I move my assets to the next generation? So write that down, and then that way you can come and ask one of the guys later about your specific circumstances. So we're a national firm around Australia. Our motto is to help our clients grow Who wants to grow their wealth? Yep. Protect. Who wants to keep most of what you get? We don't want to build it all up and then wake up one morning a pauper, do we? So protecting your wealth is very important. And then passing it on to the next generation. Who wants to pass it on to the next generation? Who wants to spend it all now? It's quite funny. I went on a cruise a number of years ago. It took my wife 30 years to convince me to go on a cruise. There was no way I was going to go out in that ocean in a boat just in case. Now, is that being paranoid or what? So it took her 30 years, and we now go on a cruise about every 18 months. But this particular cruise I went on, there was all these old people, sort of my age, when I say old, and they had these T-shirts with the initials SKI, ski. Has anyone seen that? And I went up to this lady and I said, what does that stand for? And she said, spend the kids' inheritance. So who's into spending the kids' inheritance? Yep. So without being rude, that's not what you want to do. Because if you've worked out that you've got X dollars and you're going to spend it over X years, what happens if you live longer? Who knows when you're going to fall off the perch? Imagine being 80 and running out of money, or 70, having worked all your life. So your aim should be to create so much wealth that you can't spend it in your lifetime, because you don't know how long you're going to live. Okay, it's called longevity risk if you talk to a financial planner. They've got to come up with these great fancy words, don't they? So longevity risk, how long are you going to live? So if you create a large enough portfolio of assets, wealth, you're going to have some left over by the time you die. Unless, of course, maybe you reach to the year 200 years old. But hopefully with compound you'll never run out. So that means you're going to have something left over. Then you can give it to charity or to kids or whatever. So a big part of wealth is how to push it on to the next generation safely. Okay? So you don't want to leave it to your kids only for them to get divorced and it goes to another family, do you? We've all heard the in-law jokes. So I'm going to show you some strategies how to hand down your assets to the next generation and keep it protected within your family. The difficulty with a session like this is I don't know where everybody's level is. So I've got to sort of guess. So the way I like to do these things is to tell you about more things but in less detail, as opposed to fewer things in more detail. So you start to know what you don't know that you don't know. It's almost a tongue twister, that, isn't it? So I'm going to go through a lot of things this afternoon. Who loves numbers? Put up your hand, you know. Okay. Who likes the esoteric things in life, the big picture? It's about half, so half and half. So one half of you are going to be very happy this afternoon. Well, I don't know which one, but half of you will be happy. So I'm going to try and keep the numbers down and talk about the big picture. So like I said, every time you hear something that you think could be of use to you, could help you with the wealth creation strategy you've got, can maybe help stop with your leakage, just jot it down and then you can talk to us later about your specific circumstances in that. Before we start...
Warning! 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 Warning!
I love that show. Great thing about kids is you can go and buy all the stuff you wished you had when you were younger, you know, all the Deep Purple albums and that sort of stuff, and give it to them, because all the kids love that sort of stuff now. But when I bought the latest Lost in Space DVD, the kids, they couldn't hack that. But all right, so the agenda for this afternoon is, you know, what name would you buy in? You know, before I start, you know, trusts aren't for everybody, but I'll talk to you about how they may be useful to some of you. I'm going to talk about superannuation. So who's a baby boomer? Yeah? Gen X, which is that middle bit. Yeah, quite a few. But Gen X could have parents that are baby boomers. The interesting thing in super is the Gen X are the richest category of people with money in super. So they've got more money in super than anyone else. So there's a huge pile of money there that the Gen X could use to actually turbocharge, if you like, their wealth creation strategy if they know how to get their hands on it. So I'll go through a couple of strategies there. Asset protection for assets in your own name. So who's got assets in their personal names? Yeah? Have you ever thought, what happens if I get sued? I could lose it. So a lot of people think, well, why won't I transfer everything from my name into a trust and then get asset protection? Has anyone sort of thought of that? Yeah? But what happens if you transfer your assets from one entity to another? Capital gains tax and stamp duty. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's why people don't do it. I'm going to show you 4 strategies of how to do that without triggering taxes. So who'd like to know those? Yeah? So I used to have clients come and tell me, oh, look, I've got all these assets in my name. I wish I hadn't have bought them now. So if you're in that category, you can give them to me. That's okay. So you've already done 80%, 90% if you've built up some assets. That's the main thing, isn't it? So I'm just going to show you how to improve. Estate planning, so how do you move assets on to the next generation? And then I'm going to talk about some top tips for property investors. So who here is a property investor or a wannabe property investor? It's quite funny, in the seminar 2 weeks ago in Brisbane, there was another seminar, I forget what it was for. It was something completely different to what we were doing. And there would have been about 50 people from the other seminar who came into the property room, into our room. And when I said that, all the hands went up and lots of people left. And I thought, oh geez, I hope it wasn't something I said. But it was just they were in the wrong room. So that's why I asked. So I'll give you some tips if you're a property investor or want to be a property investor that can stop the leakage and substantially improve the returns that you're getting.